Join us for another day on the water with the quickest competition boats anywhere. The power, the speed, the excitement that is USF1 Powerboat Racing. This is your Pit Pass. This week on Pit Pass, we find ourselves in Edmonds, Washington, where we'll be talking with Greg Jacobsen, owner of Seaway Marine and the NGK race team. Greg, how are you?
Good.
Now, Greg, your driver, Tim Seebold, we all know about his family lineage in powerboat racing, but your family has quite a lineage in powerboat racing, doesn't it?
Yeah, we do. It's not as grand as the Seabolds. This will be their 75th year of having a competitor on the water, starting with the grandpa, and then, of course, Bill, who won over 1,000 racers and has been inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame, and then Tim and Mike. But yeah, my dad, in his early 20s, built a lot of race boats around the Pacific Northwest, raced around here, took a few long trips, one to Tennessee, and then after my mom saw him flip a couple times, she said, okay, it's a racing career is over, and he raised a family, and but he always supported me in what I did, and you know, it's a good combination of families, the Seabold family and my family being involved in the boat business, and it's a good pairing. We're happy to be together.
Okay, Greg, will you be fielding any more boats this season?
Well, at all of the events except for Seattle, we'll just have Tim in the one boat. We're still in an experimental phase with our new motor. It's a lot of work on the team to try to develop a new motor, and to run two boats is a lot of work. But at Seattle, we've got a lot more support here. And we are able to run two boats, so it's a good fit. At all of the events except for Seattle, we'll just have Tim in the one boat. We're still in an experimental phase with our new motor. It's a lot of work on the team to try to develop a new motor, and to run two boats is a lot of work. But at Seattle, we've got a lot more support here, and we are able to run two boats, so it's a good fit.
Seattle is your home base, and with the Grand Trucking Cup here, how much pressure does that put on you at being this kind of the home race?
I don't know if there's any additional pressure. It's kind of nice to be at home, have a lot of family and support around me, and you know, a lot more help at the race site at Seattle. So I don't know. There's more pressure to it. It's also not a real true USF1 event, since we're kind of the secondary class of the Unlimiteds. So it's just another race. It's one, of course, we like to win because it's our hometown and we've won it the last 2 years. So we're pretty confident with the race course, and it's, like I said, it's just nice to race at home, and I think it gives us an advantage. We're all relaxed, the equipment's all prepared, and you know, it's a fun site to race at.
Greg, you lost the championship here in Seattle last year. How badly does that sting?
Actually, we lost the championship in Wheatland, Missouri at Lucas Oil Speedway. We were dominating the event. We'd qualified on pole. We'd won every heat race. We were leading the final by almost a half a lap, and Tim came into a corner and stuffed the boat a little bit and got it sideways, and we didn't get any points for the final. That was, from that point forward, an uphill battle because we almost ran the table from there. We finished second in LaPorte and had led that race at one point. And then won all the rest of the races. So we did it to ourselves in Wheatland, and we're not going to do that this year. We're going to be a little more patient. Getting into the season, they've changed the point structure. That'll help if you are eliminated from one event, but it really doesn't change our mindset. We're going to try to win a championship this year for NGK and Tim, and we feel that we're not going to make that mistake again. So hopefully that won't happen, and we'll have a good year and accumulate points at every race. That's the important thing. With the way the point system's set up and the number of races we have, you have to score points every heat and every final, and that's what we're going to do.
Tim Seebold is your featured driver. What does he bring to the organization?
Well, Tim brings an unbelievable amount of experience. He's been racing for, almost 40 years. He's my best friend. We work well together. He can tell you in an instant if a propeller's fast or not around a race course, when on our timing system it might only be 0.3 of a second off. He's just got so much good feedback, and he doesn't make mistakes. He's consistent. He's strong. He'll wear you down in a race. He can work on the boats and motors. He just brings everything to the team. And like I said, we've been friends for so long. We work well together, and I think that's why we've been successful together.
Okay, the veteran Seabold is 50 years old. Are you going to be bringing in any new drivers?
Well, Tim's still got a lot in the tank, as he showed last year. Again, winning and dominating some events, and he doesn't get tired. He's strong. He's still got that fire in his eye. So we're not heading that direction right now, but he did mention to me last year, in the dead of winter, like, I can't do this forever. We got to think about that, and so we've been thinking about it, and it's part of why I worked with Jose this year to fold the Formula Light Tour in with USF1. We need to bring a new group of drivers into the possible fray to drive an F1 boat, and the best way to do that is have them right on our hip every weekend. They're a smaller boat. They don't go as fast, and there's a lot less challenges to driving one. But we wanted to start that marriage to develop a new crop of young drivers, and one of those new young guys is my son Hayden. He's 19. I don't know if he'll ever drive a Formula One. I kind of hope not, but that's the kind of kids that we need to start getting involved, so that when they run those classes, that class Formula Lights for 3-4 years, the first time they jump in an F1 boat, it's a bit of a mystery still, but not a complete mystery. And so that's been a big thing that we've worked on in the off season as a tour, and I tip my hat to Fred Miller and Jose for putting all that together. And so that's kind of what we're looking at for the future. Maybe bring along a younger guy that we see has a lot of talent and let him drive a backup boat a couple times and work him in that way. But again, right now, Tim is at the top of his game still. He's 50 years old, but you'd never know it.
All right, Greg, last year you had one of the slickest looking boats with that big NGK spark plug across the side. Are they going to continue to be backing you this season?
Yeah, fortunately, all of our sponsors came back. NGK, CDI Electronics, MarineEngine.com, and we're very fortunate to have them all back. And I think they enjoyed the first run with us last year, so to speak. And the NGK boat will look exactly the same. We've added a new boat, but yeah. So we're very, very happy everyone's back. Yeah, I'd also like to add to your comment that we have one of the slickest looking boats on the water. That's completely done by Moto MG and Kevin Piles. Also working with NGK in a very short time frame, because we did that whole wrap in about a month last year. But yeah, we love the way the boat looks. Everybody comments on it, and again, just want to thank NGK, for giving us the opportunity to put their logo on our boat and make it look good. And it looks good at shows. We did the Lake of the Ozarks as a demo last year, a display, and NGK is interested in having us display the boats at some other events that they put on that aren't powerboat events. So we're very, very happy with the way the boat looks, and it's fast, and just try to get it up front.
So this year there's been some point changes and some rule changes in F1. Is that going to affect how you go about each race?
Yeah, the point change, I think the problem with the point system as we had it before was, if you did lose an event or you got kicked out of a final or broke a motor or something, you pretty much were out of the championship race. And that works against us last year, okay? It could work for us next year. But we wanted a system that if you did have that kind of terrible weekend, you could bounce back and run the table on the rest of the weekends and win the championship. But that's not the way the old point system worked. This one will let you trip once and still maintain a run for the championship. And it makes it better for all the competitors and teams and fans when you've got 3 or 4 boats heading into the final race that could possibly win a championship. I mean, it amps up everything for everyone. And so I'm happy with it that change was made. I think it's good, and we'll see what happens.
Greg, what kind of direction would you like to see F1 go in the future?
Well, I think, we obviously strive continually to get more races. That's the biggest thing. And it's just been because of a pretty, bad economy for the last 4 or 5 years that it's difficult to get cities involved to put on events when they're struggling to make their own payrolls. We kind of see that changing now. There's a lot more activity, and Jose's added a couple new events that are now kind of anchored events. That's one thing we'd like to see the tour do is get more events, and I know that's his top priority, and, I'm trying to do everything we can to help him along. And, we got to put on a good show where we're at now. We got to, show up and look professional and put competitive boats on the water, and anchor those sites so that the focus can be on developing new sites. And that's what I'd like to see the tour go. It would also, the addition of the Formula Light thing this year, we'll see how that works out. And I think that is a big, positive step for the tour. But all in all, we're in a good position coming out of this kind of weak economy to get some new events and to put our show in front of, smaller cities that don't have big budgets for powerboat racing. We can put on a good show.
So, Greg, is there anything on the horizon for the Seaway Marine team?
Not beyond what I've told you. We've got my son's in the truck now with us, so we'll bring our 2 Formula One boats and his 45 boat. So that's kind of fun to have him involved. He works at Seaway. He goes to school at Western right now, and so that's exciting to have him along. But we're gonna, our focus this year is really to try and win a championship. So in the past, we've spent a lot of time and effort working with the experimental OMC motor, and we may, if it hiccups on a weekend, we may just put it aside and run the tried and true Mercury motor. But that's probably a change that we've decided to make as a team. In fact, when we go to LaPorte for the first weekend, we're just going to bring our Mercury stuff. We want to get off to a good start. Even though we feel that the OMC motor is going to be competitive, is going to be incredibly reliable, we're not there quite yet. And again, our focus this year is to win a championship.
Greg, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today.
We appreciate you coming down to the NGK race shop and taking time to focus on our team. We look forward to working with you on the tour this year.
In the next episode of Pit Pass, we'll be on Stone Lake in LaPorte, Indiana for the Maple City Grand Prix and the kickoff of the 2014 USF1 race season. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Pit Pass.